Hi friends, till now we have completed the liquidity ratios. In this video, we will start with the solvency ratios. Firstly, what is solvency? Solvency is nothing but the capability of the firm to meet its long-term debts and liabilities. Just like we saw in how liquidity is the ability of the firm to meet its short-term or current obligations, solvency is the ability of the business or the company to meet its long-term obligations or long-term debts and liabilities. These ratios also reveal how much amount in a business has been invested by the owners or the proprietors and how much the firm has borrowed from outsiders. It also reveals how the firm is able to meet its interest costs or its finance charges in a regular manner. Okay, a solvent company is one that owns more than it owes. Okay, we already know this very well. When do we call a company as insolvent? Once its liabilities exceed its assets, we call that as insolvent. So, a solvent company has more assets than its liabilities. It has a positive net worth. Net worth is the total assets minus the total liabilities. So, it has a positive net worth and it also has a manageable debt load. That is when we call a company as a solvent one. Okay, solvency ratios are also known as long-term liquidity ratios. Just like how we call liquidity ratios as the short-term solvency ratios, we call solvency ratios as the long-term liquidity ratios. We have a case study. Okay, first we will look into the ratios one by one and then we will come back to the case studies as and when we require. In solvency, we will study about 4 ratios. First is the debt to equity ratio. Next is the debt to total assets ratio. Third is the proprietary ratio, and lastly we will see about the interest coverage ratio. First is the debt equity ratio. Like the name suggests, this ratio explains the relationship between the debt and the equity that a firm has. It explains the relationship between the long-term debts. Okay, in the when we saw the structure of a balance sheet, we saw that debt indicates long-term debts. So, this ratio explains the relationship between long-term debts and equity, which is also called the shareholders' funds. This ratio is also known as long-term liquidity ratio. The formula for this ratio is nothing but debt divided by equity. Debt indicates long-term debt. Okay, we have mentioned that here. Debts that are likely to mature after 1 year. That is what we call as long-term debt. That divided by equity. Okay, before we start equity, what could be included in debt? It will include long-term borrowings and long-term provisions. Long-term borrowings could be debentures, it could be mortgage loans, it could be bank loans, loans from financial institutions, public deposits and a lot more. It also includes long-term provisions. Now we have equity. Equity is the funds in a company that belongs to the shareholders, that is owned by the shareholders. It is the amount in the company that the shareholders will receive if a business were to be liquidated. Okay, that is what we called as shareholders funds. Like we already saw, equity can be computed in 2 methods. First is the equity and liability side approach and the second is the asset side approach. Equity and liability side approach is the direct approach. We just add all the components of equity. What are the components? We add the share capital, which comprises both equity share capital and preference share capital, and we add with that reserves and surplus, which includes capital reserve, securities premium, general reserve, P&L balance and other things. In the asset side approach, what do? We compute the total assets and we subtract from that the current liabilities and the non-current liabilities. That is what is mentioned here. Non-current assets plus current assets gives us the total assets and we subtract current liabilities and non-current liabilities from that. That will give us the amount of equity. Now the ideal ratio for debt to equity is 2:1, which means that a firm can borrow twice the amount of its equity. Means that long-term debt of a firm is 2 times of its shareholders' funds. A higher ratio shows a risky financial position, as it indicates that more and more funds that are invested in the business are provided by outsiders and not the owners. A lower ratio indicates a secure position for long-term lenders. Yes. Okay, this ratio is expressed in proportion or simple ratio or pure ratio. Now we will go to the case study to have a look at what the case study says about this ratio. Okay, debt equity ratio. How do we calculate that? We divide debt by equity. We have two companies here. One is named the strong company and the other is the weak company. The amount of debt that the strong company has is 6,50,000 and its equity is 3 lakh. The amount of debt that the weak company has is 7,50,000 and the equity that it has is 1,50,000. Now when we calculate the debt equity ratio for both the companies, here it comes to around 2.17:1, and in the weak company we have the ratio as 5:1. So seeing this ratio, we find that the proportion of debt is much higher than the strong company. Here it is somewhat close to the ideal ratio, which indicates that this company is in a financially sound position than this company. This company indicates a riskier position. Now we will look at the sums for debt equity ratio. This is illustration 24 in your book. Calculate debt equity ratio from the following particulars. Okay, we have a set of information here. From that we are supposed to calculate debt equity ratio, and they also ask us what conclusions do you draw about the company on the basis of this ratio. Okay, so they are also asking us to comment about the ratio that we calculate. First item that is given here is share capital. Next we have reserves and surplus. Next we have long-term borrowings. Next we have long-term provisions. Current liabilities is given, non-current assets is given, and current assets is given. Now to calculate debt equity ratio, what all do we need? We need the long-term debts and also we need the amount of equity. So how do we calculate long-term debts from this? Let's see what all will be included in long-term debt. Share capital will not be included, reserve surplus will not come there. Long-term borrowings, yes, this will have to be added. Long-term provisions again will have to be added. Current liabilities, no, this is about long-term debt that we are talking. Non-current assets will not be included and current assets will not come into the picture. So long-term debt is simple. We will just add long-term borrowings and long-term provisions and we will arrive at long-term debt, which comes to rupees 1,70,000. Next we have to calculate equity. Okay, equity here in this question, equity can be calculated in both the methods, that is the equity and liabilities approach and the asset side approach. Let us first look at the equity and liabilities side approach, which is the direct approach. What all do we add in that? We add the amount of share capital, we add the amount of reserves and surplus, and then no, all of this will not come there. So adding the amount of share capital and the reserves and surplus, we get shareholders funds as rupees 3,60,000. Okay, now from the asset side approach, how do we calculate? We have to first compute the total assets and then we will subtract from that the current liabilities and non-current liabilities. Okay, for total assets we have non-current assets and we have current assets. So we will add that, which comes to rupees 5 lakh, and then we will subtract from that current liabilities and long-term liabilities. Long-term liabilities we just calculated here as rupees 1,70,000. So doing this calculation, we get the same answer that we got in the previous approach, that is rupees 3,60,000. Okay, here is another formula, which is non-current assets plus working capital minus non-current liabilities. Okay, it's just this same formula simplified there. What do we call this? Current assets minus current liabilities. We already saw that current assets minus current liabilities is working capital. That is what is given here. Okay, now that we have done calculating long-term debt and equity, there is just a direct substitution, after which we will get the debt equity ratio. Here it comes to 0.47:1. They have also asked us to comment on this ratio. So, okay, this is a comment that is given in your book. They say that ideal ratio is 2:1. If the debts are lower, then the financial position of the company is quite sound. That is what is given in your book. But friends, debt equity ratio need not be this low also. Actually, there is something called leverage that you derive from debt. It is advantageous to the company to take in debt. It is just that there shouldn't be so much of debt in a company. So it needn't be this low also. Anyways, let's follow what is given in your book. So they say the debt is lesser than twice the equity. So the financial position of the company is quite sound. This sum is done. We will move to the next sum. This is illustration 27. Calculate debt equity ratio from the following. We have total assets given, we have total debt, and we have current liabilities. Okay, now for computing debt equity ratio, we need debt and we need equity. Okay, is debt given here? Don't say yes, because here only total debt is given, and what we are talking about here is the long term debt. So what we will do, we will subtract this current liabilities from the total debt to arrive at long term debt, which is what we have done here. Total debt minus current liabilities, which is 2,60,000 minus 40,000, will give us total debt as rupees 2,20,000. And then we need shareholders funds. Okay, here there is no direct method to compute the shareholders funds. So what we will do, we know that the total asset side of the balance sheet will be equal to the equity and liabilities side of the balance sheet. So to arrive at equity, what we will do is, we will subtract the debt, that is the long term debt and the current liabilities, from the total assets. So what is the total assets? 8,10,000 minus, we will subtract the total debt that is given here, rupees 2,60,000. We will arrive at the shareholders fund as rupees 5,50,000. So we have these information now, so we will directly substitute that in debt equity ratio formula, that is debt by equity, and we arrived at the ratio as 0.4:1. So this is what we have in debt equity ratio. Now we will move to the next solvency ratio, which is debt to total assets ratio. Here also, as the name indicates, this is a ratio that explains the relationship between debt and total assets. This ratio indicates how much of your total assets is financed by debt, that is, how much money of those assets belong to outsiders or third parties. It shows the margin of safety available to the providers of long-term debts. The formula for calculating this debt, that is debt to total assets ratio, is long-term debt divided by total assets. Long-term debt we already saw in the previous ratio, it's the same. Debts that are likely to mature after 1 year, it includes long-term borrowings and long-term provisions. And total assets, okay, you will not have any problem with total assets. It is the total amount of assets that the company owns. This includes both non-current assets and current assets. And non-current assets includes tangible assets and intangible assets also. It also includes other items like non-current investments, long-term loans and advances that are given by the company to outsiders, and other similar items. This ratio is again expressed in the form of proportion or simple ratio. And okay, let's see what this lower or higher ratio denotes. A lower ratio denotes that a lot of the assets that the firm has is financed by outsiders or third parties, or is financed by debts. So this indicates a larger safety margin for lenders. Oh, I think I told that wrong. Okay, lower ratio denotes use of lower debts in financing the assets. That means we have used more of own funds or owners' funds in financing the assets. Higher ratio denotes what I told earlier, that is a lot of assets is financed by outsiders or third parties through long-term debts. This denotes a riskier financial position. Now moving to the case study. Okay, here in this, both the companies have total assets as 11 lakh. There are a few items of fixed assets and there are a few items of current assets, and there are no difference in the asset side in the balance sheet of both the firms. Both have 11 lakh of total assets. Now when we calculate the debt to assets ratio, we know a strong company has 6,50,000 of debt and the weak company has 7,50,000 of debt. Calculating the debt to total assets ratio, we find that in the strong company 0.59, that is almost 60% of the assets is financed by outsiders. Whereas in the weak company, we find that the ratio is 0.68:1, which means that almost 70% of the assets is financed by outsiders. So comparatively, when we look at both the companies, we find that weak company is a riskier position because most of its assets is financed by debt rather than own funds of the company. Now we will move to the sums for this ratio. Compute, this is illustration 29. Compute debt to total assets ratio from the following information. We have fixed assets, non-current investments given, current assets is given, total debt, trade payables is given, outstanding expenses and bank OD. Okay, now to calculate debt to total assets ratio, we need debt and we need total assets. Okay, how do we calculate long-term debts here? They have given us the total debts and they have given a number of current liabilities which we will have to subtract from the total debts to arrive at long-term debts. So that is what we have done here. Total debt minus trade payables minus outstanding expenses minus bank OD. So we do that calculation and we arrive at total debt as rupees 16 lakh. Now we need the amount of total assets. How do we calculate total assets here? Okay, it's the direct calculation. They have given us fixed assets, they have given us non-current investments and they have given us current assets. Just add all of those three items and we will arrive at total assets as rupees 25,60,000. Now then it's a direct substitution in the formula. 16 lakh divided by 25,60,000, which will give us the debt to equity ratio as 0.625:1. Okay, this is a very simple sum. We are done with this sum. We are going to the next sum now. This is illustration 32. Compute debt to total assets ratio from the following information. Again, total debt is given to us. Shareholders funds is given, which is the equity. Reserves and surplus is given. Current assets is given and working capital is given. Again, to calculate debt to total assets ratio, we need long-term debt and we need total assets. How do we calculate long-term debt? Total assets is given here. From this we need to subtract current liabilities. But is current liabilities given to us? No. They have given current assets and working capital. It means that from this we have to calculate current liabilities. We already know the formula for working capital is current assets minus current liabilities. We have the amount of working capital, we have the amount of current assets. So we will find out this missing figure easily. Okay. Current liabilities is equal to current assets minus working capital. When we do that calculation, we find out that the current liabilities is 6 lakh. Now we can easily find out long-term debt, which is total debt minus current liabilities, which we found just now. So 30 lakh minus 6 lakh, which gives us 24 lakh of long-term debt. Now we have to calculate the total assets. How do we calculate total assets? We do that by adding the total debt and the shareholders funds, because there is no hint for us to calculate shareholder total assets in the direct method. So we know that equity and liability side will be equal to asset side. So we are calculating the total of the equity and assets, equity and liabilities side. So we have the total debt that's directly given to us, and with that we are adding the equity or the shareholders funds, which is rupees 12 lakh. Please don't wonder why we are not adding reserves and surplus of 8 lakhs to this. because in the when we saw the structure of the balance sheet, we saw that shareholders funds is inclusive of reserves and surplus. That is why we are not adding reserves and surplus separately to total debt. We are just adding the amount of equity. So when we do that, we find that the total is rupees 42 lakh, which is the amount of total assets. So once we are calculating, once we are done calculating this, we will calculate debt to total assets easily by substituting the numbers in the formula. So we find that debt to total assets ratio is 0.57:1. The note says that, okay, like we already saw, reserves and surplus will be ignored because it is already included in shareholders funds. So friends, with this sum, we are done with the first two ratios under solvency. In the next video, we will look into the formula for calculating the next two ratios of solvency.